In this 1 hour workshop, we're going to look at what web applications are available currently for e-teaching and e-research. And we're going to look at some of the more niche ones. We're certainly going to omit some of the larger ones like YouTube, Skype, Wikipedia, Facebook, Twitter, and lots of the blogging platforms like Blogger and WordPress. They're very well known, they're very widely understood, but we're really going to look at some of the smaller ones and how they can be useful for creating things to help you in your e-teaching and collaborating, say, when you're doing research. Firstly, let's have a look at the common steps which are involved in bringing one of these web services into your teaching and research, particularly in terms of if you're going to get your class to engage with it. First thing you have to do is sign up. So a lot of these services operate under the freemium model, which means that some or all aspects of them are free. A good example is Gmail. So Gmail is a totally free service. It's very, very useful, but they're collecting data based on your emails, on your clicks, and they're also showing you ads wherever there's free space on the page. So others are called paid to upgrade, which means that some parts of the service are free, and then if you find it very useful, you may want to move into a more professional mode or a kind of a power user mode, and so some features will be available to you if you sign up for a subscription or perhaps for a pro version of the software. It's important to understand that if you're using a free service, then it's actually you that's the product. You and your data are the product that they're selling. So you will be getting targeted ads, or you might be clicking yes in the end user license agreement and agreeing to basically aggregate your data and sell that as a resource. So the next part is to learn how to use it. You've got to spend some time exploring the interface, finding out what all the tools do and the functions of that particular web service. You really just have to get in there and have a go, set up a test project, something trivial, something small, find out what all the bits and pieces do, find out where it's going to fall over, where it's going to really, really work for you well, just so that you can be well rehearsed ahead of time. They all operate in the cloud. You would have heard this phrase a lot recently. It's a buzz phrase, which basically means that everything gets stored out there on a remote server somewhere. That has an implication for research. It has an implication for privacy, lots of implications which you'll need to think through before you get going and implement one of these maybe into your classroom. If you're expecting your students to work collaboratively on a cloud-based project, and their work is somehow being used, their data is being aggregated, then you need to be very clear about that kind of thing up front and get a lot of agreement and buy-in before you get going. You also need to understand how to get it in and out. So you wouldn't want to end up with something being trapped inside a web service and then you can't use it. You can't pull out your data, you can't remove it, say archive it elsewhere. Some services, that's their entire feature. I mean, it only exists inside a web page, and when you look at it, you'll see that that's the kind of natural home for it. It wouldn't make any sense to have it any other way. You'll want to strategize a little bit about how you're going to put together the assignment or the outline of what you expect people to do. You really have to devise the project from start to finish. You can think of it in terms of the filmmaking breakdown, pre-production, production and post-production, or maybe setup, implementation and then feedback. You might want to think of it in those three buckets. But you do need to spend a bit of time beforehand getting everyone set up and signed up to the free accounts or the paid accounts, whatever it is, and make sure that everyone understands how to use the tool so that you're not swamped halfway through the project or halfway through the assignment with a whole lot of questions about, I can't make it work, how does this work, why is it doing this, it won't work. You'll just end up with a lot of frustration and you've basically gone backwards in your outcome. And the last point is about archiving. you'll see lots of different buttons and file menu things that say things like share, export, archive, or save as, or publish. And there might even be other words that they use. You need to decide early on how you're going to manage all this data over a longer period, how you're going to keep it for other people to draw on, and how it's going to be rolled over perhaps from semester to semester if that's relevant too. Let's look at how some of these web services overlap. So the first category could broadly be pulled as digital assets for teaching, and the second as services that are using to meet with people online and interact with people online. These are some of the things that you'll be doing. You'll be creating images, say for your PowerPoints or for your presentations. You'll be creating video and audio assets, or you'll be sharing video and audio online to demonstrate processes or to demonstrate interviews. You can create interesting images out of text. You can create graphics which are infographics or charts or flow diagrams. Meeting and interacting could take the form of online meetings. They could be formal or informal. Lots of services can record online. You can create surveys for collecting research data. They can be very elaborate or they can be quite simple. You can share files backwards and forwards using cloud storage services. And you can also access project management tools, some very simple, some free, and others paid services which allow you more functionality, allow for things like client sign-off or to make sure that jobs are actually being done, so you're collecting those milestones. And then there's a space in the middle where all of these things can overlap. You can use any of them anywhere, of course, but a couple of the free-form generators really fall into this category, like FreeMind or Poplet, and using those micro polls and straw polls inside the classroom for instant feedback. First category is to look at web services which allow us to create images and interesting graphics and also interactives. So there's a list here which say Piclits and Wordle might be in the first part, allowing us to use text and create these interesting text-based images, which are really just sort of visual things, which mean that as you're making PowerPoints or creating presentations, you've got something visually interesting to use, perhaps as a backdrop. Dippity and TimeToast create interactive timelines, and Pixlr and PsychoPaint are basically like slightly different versions of Photoshop and Illustrator inside the web browser. And the last one there, 1.2.3D app, is actually a suite of 3D tools which allow you to create 3D models simply by uploading a set of digital photos that you've taken of perhaps a building or an object from all different angles. Also worth looking at is the Chrome browser App Store, because there are literally thousands of apps in there, ranging across anything you can think of. So worth half an hour to browse there and see if you can find something useful. You can create video and audio assets, digital artifacts, right in the browser now. WeVideo.com is actually a very interesting tool because it allows you to go from simple to intermediate to advanced mode. You can create at whatever level you feel comfortable with or your time permits. Audio Boo is an example of an audio blogging platform, so you can use the iPhone app or directly into your computer via the microphone, and it allows you to upload your spoken or your recordings and then provide a link to that so you can embed it in pages. Animoto and FlixTime allow you to create really interesting looking sort of supercharged slideshows with uploading JPEGs, and you can add music to the background. And Screencast-O-Matic is a very, very useful free screen recording tool, which if you're showing someone how to use a web service, or if you're trying to explain to a group of students how you'd like them to finish an assignment or carry out an assignment, making a screencast is very simple and very great way to control the message. These items allow for just combining images, elements, videos together. So ThingLink and Poplet are The first ones are about tagging. So Poplet allows 3 or 4 people to log into the same project and create it synchronously, so you can actually see it appear on one screen as people are adding their different bits and pieces to it. ThingLink allows you to add tags and videos to a single image. Popcorn is a tool which allows you to put context around a YouTube video, and Pinterest, Glogster and Tumblr are really visual new forms of blogging platforms. And Prezi is a unique zooming interface presentation tool that exists solely online. And the last one there, Issue, is a way of making a magazine that really looks like a PDF, sorry, that really looks like a magazine. It's got great layout tools you can create and then upload into Issue, and you can distribute via a link as well. Micropoll and Strawpoll are very useful for getting feedback live in, say, the lecture theatre or the tutorial. What you can do is you can ask people you can set up a micropoll, and you can ask people to respond to a question, give them a couple of different answers, or a yes/no perhaps, and then you can instantly see the graph of people's responses on the screen. So it returns a very instant result. SurveyMonkey and Lime Survey are more traditional tools for surveying, with things like branching logic and skip logic, allowing you to create really rich interviews and collect that data in a really useful way. The first one mentioned here is Asana.com. It allows you to add for free up to 30 people into a project or into an account, and all those people can then participate in the project, and you can see the progress of it as it goes along. You can assign people tasks, they can tick them off when they've done them, or they can share them out as they need to. The next 3 are services which are about collaborating and meeting online. So Big Blue Button, or the BBB, is the free version, if you like, of Adobe Connect, and EddingMeaning.com is the free ad-supported version of those two. And the last one is an interesting learning platform, a bit like a different form of Blackboard or Moodle, but it's really about creating online lessons. If you're using a lot of video and audio, and if you're expecting that people will be creating a lot for the sake of an assignment, or perhaps as one of the tasks, you'll want to know how to store that and how to shift it around, how people can share it. So the first one to mention is CloudStore. It's CloudStore without an E. If you search for that on the Unimel website, you'll find it's a very useful service, allowing you to pass very large files between anyone with a Unimel account, students or staff. Dropbox, SkyDrive and Box and Google Drive are all free online storage services. If you want to access more storage space, you need to either pay or upgrade your account in some way. Okay, that brings the introduction PowerPoint to a close, and we'll get on with the screencasts next.